At the heart of an industrial revolution is an innovation that changes everything. Building AI Boston sees artificial intelligence as a renaissance. From the heart of innovation and the mecca of tech learning, we bring you AI for Real People, a conversation for everyone. Today, we feature a true business game changer, Bobbie Carlton. She's the founder of the award-winning Carlton PR and marketing firm. Bobbie's also the founder of Innovation Nights, which launched more than 1,000 new products that have received more than $2 billion in funding, and Innovation Women, an online visibility bureau helping drive visibility for entrepreneurial, technical, and innovative women through speaking engagements. In 2010, Bobbie was named one of the 10 Bostonians who've done the most for the startup community, and it's a title that still stands today. And now we get her take on ethical AI and why it's still invaluable to be a creative human. Welcome to Building AI Boston. I'm your co-host, Anna DeVere, and my incredible co-host is here, Babe founder Amanda Goodwin. Welcome.
Hello. Hi. So happy to be here with you guys.
Amanda, you know what? One of my favorite things about you is your circle of wicked smat friends, and we have an incredible one today. I have the pleasure of introducing a legend in Boston and beyond, the lovely Bobbie Carlton. Hello, Bobbie.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm good. I'm still buzzing over our time together at the AI-powered women conference in
Amazing event.
Yeah. I mean, now that you can kind of kick your feet up and take in the pleasure of that, I think, well done, friend. Well done.
Oh, credit to Felicia. That was her vision. I was just there to support and provide a bunch of speakers.
Bobbie, maybe if you can give just like a 10-second overview of what the conference was for someone like me who unfortunately had to miss it. Can you just give a top line view of who Felicia is, what people were there doing, and why it was a big deal?
Absolutely. And we're talking, folks, about the AI Powered Women Summit. And it was an absolutely fantastic event that we did in Boston at MIT. Well, actually, that's Cambridge. I guess. And Felicia, Dr. Felicia Newhouse, really was the brainchild behind it. And she is just absolutely amazing. She started talking to me months ago about how women are increasingly being kept out of and left behind in terms of AI. And she wanted to pull together a summit. And I said, ha ha ha, I have many speakers that I can contribute to this event because one of my projects is Innovation Women.
Yes, and I'd love it if you would give us the 30-second overview of that. It's because that's something I learned about you while I was there. You had a booth, and I was just fascinated by all your resources. Can you give us kind of the how and why it came to be of Innovation Women?
Absolutely. And quick background, my day job is running a PR and marketing firm for many years. My night
You mean you
job.
have more than one job?
Yes.
What?
Multi-talented women doing so much work all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Let me guess, you have kids too.
Yes. And a husband who is the primary caregiver.
Oh,
But are you a den mother? That's the real question. Do you do that? Just kidding. That's an
inside joke. All right, moving on. Night job for many years, Mass Innovation Nights, which was a monthly new product launch event, which got me invited to all the other events in Boston, where I just happened to notice that most of the speakers at these events were what we call male, pale, and stale. And that led to what I consider the dream job, the dream of getting more women on stage at conferences and events. So Innovation Women is a self-service platform designed to connect directly event managers and speakers to give speakers the support and education they need, give them access to a database of speaking opportunity, and provide community, something we call speaker friends, to help support them as they advance their speaking careers.
You know, and in full disclosure, so Bobbie and I met June of 2024 at Massachusetts Technology Leadership Council Council?
The Unconference.
The Unconference, but MTLC. Is it Massachusetts Technology Leadership Council, I think. Yes, the Unconference. And that's where I learned about Innovation Women. immediately joined. And while I do have some background in media, I can also tell you, Bobbie, that within 2 weeks of being on the platform, I had invitations to speak at events. So, and it really is a wonderful platform that works, and was able to get me to think about, how do I hone my own marketing? And so super, super, super helpful. And it's interesting also, like a lot of things in the AI world, I think that get talked about is AI and bias. And wondering if you could talk a little bit about how, of course, AI is biased, like the world is biased, and humans built AI. A little bit of that intersection of the bias that you saw in real life playing out, and what your answer was. And what do you think is the answer with AI and bias? And how do those things kind of intersect?
Yeah. And for me, some of the data around women and stages, 2/3 of all conference speakers are men. That leaves women out of tremendous career and business opportunities. And some of it is systemic bias. Women are more likely to be responsible for kids in home. Women are still more likely to be working part time at smaller companies. And those things make it harder for us to say yes to speaking opportunities.
Right.
You can't just jet off if you've got small people depending on you. And you also can't just jet off if your company isn't big enough or have deep pockets enough to support you.
Right.
So some of those systemic things keep women from saying yes. But the invitations overwhelmingly also go to men because in a lot of industries, they are still the majority. In a lot of industries, they are still the majority at the top. And, what conference doesn't want to have the CEO of Google, the CEO of
Right.
Microsoft, and then you start looking at the CEOs in the Fortune 500 and tiny little percentage that is women.
Mm.
So, those are things that keep women from being front and center when it comes to a lot of these conferences. And I think the same things apply in the whole world of AI. We have a history, we have systems that inject bias at every stage. So if we are not working to counteract that bias, it's going to keep coming and it's going to get worse.
Mm, yeah. I'm sorry, Amanda, did you have a follow-up to that?
Well, I was just wondering, so how do we keep that from getting worse? My thought is like, what is your approach to ethical use of AI, and what does that mean?
Yeah. I run a marketing firm, and a lot of our clients, when AI kind of first appeared on the scene, were like, "Ooh, let's do that." I'm like sitting here with a team of writers and content creators who are all like, "What? Oh my God, like, what do we do now?" And one of the things that I told my team is, number one, we can use AI to help ourselves in the background, standard operating procedures, internal stuff, fine and dandy. But I also want to make sure that we never do anything through AI that is client facing or public facing, especially with the creation of stuff we put online, because that's just a recipe for nothing ever new, because AI is based on a foundation of stuff that already exists.
Right.
And, as marketing experts and search engine optimization savvy people, that's not gonna work too well. And, one of the things I always tell people is Google Google hates a cheat. Google
That's
hates
true.
Google hates it when people are able to create content quickly and easily because that's how scammers work. That's how
Mhm.
spammers work. And so in order to stand out and win the search engine optimization race, you have to be a creative human.
Mhm.
I
So,
Mhm.
mean, do you think with SEO specifically,
mhm.
are you in the camp that SEO is going to be dead by 2026?
Oh. going to say dead. I'm going to say life support.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, it's so interesting because I think that everybody is concerned about the bias of women represented. And I just came from CES, and there was, funny enough, there was a panel of the data divas, and they were from Google and Amazon, and yet I didn't find anything substantive in what they were saying. And the funniest thing I heard from the Google woman, not that I'm going to knock a friend, a fellow femtech woman, but she talked about transparency. And I thought, oh, well, if that isn't like the weird, an oxymoron coming from Google. But Bobbie, one of the things I appreciate most about you is that you do have these more, you have a broader range of perspective, and your willingness to share. I have to say to the audience that doesn't know the immense background of Bobbie's work, that she's a panelist and adjudicator at Austin's South by Southwest. She gets to see some of the best and brightest minds and innovations, and I know that AI is sort of a word that's bandied about in a very loose way. I think you told me like half the, or maybe 90% of the projects that you've judged have just kind of used AI loosely. But what does ethical AI use look like in your work?
Yeah. So remember earlier I said, I had a team of content creators.
Yes.
And, when we look at ethical AI, we look at it as that's often our work that is being vacuumed up along with other things. So, I'm in the camp of you do have to feed the AI monster, but you need to feed it stuff you own.
Mm.
And, I'm not real thrilled when I hear puzzlement and lack of clarity and lack of information about where the foundations, where these large language models are being built and from what. I have clients that come to me and say, well, is the stuff we're putting on YouTube being consumed? Yeah, pretty much. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
of course.
so.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what about the stuff that is private on YouTube? I'm
There's no
like,
private on YouTube. I mean,
yeah, it's
it
all
yeah,
in the
it's
bucket,
right.
and there's no such thing as private there.
Agreed.
We look at a lot of things, and you have to start reading the terms of service, and you have to start reading press releases and interviews and blog posts, and then they start contradicting each other. No, we wouldn't touch that. Well, maybe we did. Yeah, so let's be open and above board about where the stuff is coming from. Number
I
one.
think your point about training AI on your unique, your crafted material is really important. And I know that's I use AI every day. I'm a writer and a moth storyteller and podcast co-host, and I see AI as kind of my instant audience feedback. So
Mhm.
I'll put in first drafts and like I want notes. Don't necessarily tell me how to make it better. Tell me how this lands, which is really helpful. And then the other way I use it, I remember in college I had a professor tell me that George Carlin used to write all of his stuff completely sober, take a walk with a joint, and then go back and punch it up. And so I kind of see AI. No, I have no idea if that's true. It's just what the college professor said. Okay.
He's gone. It's okay. You can
Yeah.
posture.
But I kind of see AI like ChatGPT is my joint. Like
Or is your stoned friend?
yeah,
Oh my
totally. Like
gosh.
I go and do my own thing, and then I get a little bit punchy. I want ChatGPT or Claude or whichever one I'm using, help me punch this up. And sometimes, it hallucinates and it's no good. And I got to say, oh no, what I did was better. And sometimes it gets my brain thinking in another direction.
Can I just say I want to smoke what she's smoking, because she literally has trained her AI, and we're both marketing people. But when I look at her executive summary and mine, I'm like, shh, I like you better with your AI augmentation, and that to me. So I've learned a lot from you, Amanda.
Oh, thanks,
Bobbie,
Anna.
Well, I'm just saying this conversation is important because it opens people's minds to what's going on. I think the biggest fear is fear itself. If I can quote a Kennedy, from your neck of the woods, it's just daunting, like you said, Bobbie, that we all have to become experts, but that's what this show is about, and
Yeah.
more power to us. So,
And there's ways to feed it on your own. Like Bobbie, like you said, I've kept a gratitude blog, right? That has a whopping, I don't know, 30 followers for like 5 years. It's not really about the followers, right? It's about the practice. So I was able to take years of, you know, my feelings, emotions, writings, and say, like, this is my vibe. This is my preferred style. This is my authentic voice. Talk this way.
mm,
And so I also think I hope to provide like a little bit of hope for folks that maybe have been journaling, writing, blogging, vlogging, and maybe you haven't amassed the audience that you dreamed you would, but now you have all this data that you can put into AI and get really strong feedback from on either how to improve, how to grow, or how to shape that work into something else.
mhm. That's great. I think you should teach a class. But this is what we saw at the Women's Summit. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
what is exactly the kind of sharing I'm talking about. People from all walks of life, and
And
that's
all different levels of experience with AI. There were
Mhm.
people that were using AI on a daily basis. There were people that were building AI powered products. And there were people who were like, don't know a thing.
Mhm.
Teach me from the ground up. So we
Yeah.
had the really broad swath of the population.
I think that
Speaking
was the most important theme, was that it's okay to not know. And I know Felicia has a much better quote than me, but it's kind of in that space of knowing and not knowing where innovation can truly flourish. And I got to say, I think that's a tendency that when women stop competing and we realize, hey, coming together is the best thing we can do. I know you started something, Bobby. You started something, and I see it popping up everywhere. So,
You mean speaker friends?
no, just the openness of being willing to say, hey, come, here on this show, we like to say, I got you, babe,
Yeah.
to quote
And I
Sharon.
mean, everybody in the speaking world who is really successful has speaker friends, people who may be running the race around the same pace that they are, maybe a little bit ahead, a little bit behind. The people who have somebody to bounce ideas off of, get referrals from, like those are the people that do really well because they have people surrounding them in a support network. So, I always encourage people. It's like even if you don't join Innovation Women, like find yourself a group to belong to and grow with them.
Speaking of finding that group, I wonder, Bobbie, your thoughts on where we are today in tech when, you know, you think of the 2025 inauguration and the male tech billionaires who were all there sitting in a row. Um, what does that mean for women in tech now? And how important is it to find, even if it's not Innovation Women, but to find that community so that maybe it's not at that event, but that at other events we're seeing, a line of compassionate, smart, intelligent women that are solving real problems too.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that the removal of DEI from our lexicon does not remove the people, the women in particular who are there. One example is NASA was told to remove any trace of DEI content from their website. They literally removed all the women. It's like, wait a second, folks. You're taking out astronauts and administrators and scientists just because they are women. And, it reminded me very much of when I started Innovation Women. A lot of people are like, oh, a nonprofit? No, 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 no. It's not a nonprofit because it's for women.
Right.
It is okay, maybe not a huge profit, but it is a for-profit company that is focusing on a target audience.
This is always
So
the thing
stop
when
it.
it focuses on women.
Right.
I say this, so I'm, the vast majority of my career is in education and early education at that. And one of the sayings that I hate the most is things like, I teach or I build for the outcomes, not the incomes. Like, screw off. Why? No, 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 no. We love the babies and we teach all the things and we do all the for both.
Right.
Pay
For
me, and it
Right.
is okay to have income and good outcomes. Like, that's the actual goal.
Mm. Mhm.
And so I'm hoping now in this time where there's just so much attention on masculine energy in tech that the women that are continuing to do really good things and bring really good things forward um, find spaces like this one to keep sharing and talking and inviting other women in um, in a way like you had said that the event did earlier this year. You don't have to be an AI engineer to be a part of the conversation. You don't
Mhm.
have to build an LLM. Um, you just need to be interested. That's it. Curious
Mhm.
on how to use or curious about the people that are building it. And you deserve to be a part of that conversation.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And one of the most interesting people I met at the summit at MIT was this woman who creates wigs for cancer patients from natural hair, that looks African American. She says, I don't want to wear a straight wig. And I'm
Right.
just here to figure out how AI fits in my business. And I thought, that's brilliant that you attracted women that just came to say, I don't know, but I'm here to find out. I got to give a quick shout out to Amanda. Amanda, when I met you, I mean, the thing that you did with Logatot was so
Yeah.
incredible.
Thanks.
And here's why I'm bringing it up. Not that I don't love a shameless plug for my friend here, but just something that blew my mind was I never considered an AI application for in-home daycare workers. Stop me if I get any of this wrong, but I interviewed you for iHeartRadio
Yep.
because I just thought, man, this is so smart. And it takes, someone that really cares about early childhood education and the understanding that you're just trying to help these in-home childcare providers do their job better so that they can get subsidized, so that they can get the kickback. And Logatot is a genius invention. And that came
Yeah.
from a woman's perspective solving a problem. I see that in spades in your neck of the wood, Bobbie. I just in spades, women solving problems, making the money, and then sharing the wisdom. And I think
Yeah.
that's why
What
we
is
do
that
this show.
quote? What is the quote for women to get half as much credit? We have to work twice as hard and be twice as smart. Fortunately,
Agreed.
not difficult.
Yeah. Yes, it's not. But it's I think where the difficult comes in it is that believing of deserving it
Mm.
and that it's okay. I mean, that's what I saw again. Um, I've spent the last 10 years in early education, and you want to talk about a sector of women where confidence is a problem, where it shouldn't be. It's early education. Not because the early educators and our care providers don't know what they're doing. They're amazing. It's because of what we as a society go back to them and what we value their work at. And so that was, as Anna was talking, Logatot is a voice command technology for compliance. Because if you really dig into why do women, and I say women not because I'm sexist, I say women because 97% of the workforce who take care of kids are women. Women stop doing that career out of their homes because of compliance, not because of kiddos, not even because of parents, even when they're really hard to deal with, but
Mhm.
because the compliance is unrealistic. If you've ever tried to serve 4 toddlers lunch, you tell me how you serve 4 toddlers lunch
No
and
idea.
at the same time mark down all of the ingredients that were in lunch, the time that it was delivered, and how much was eaten. You can't. So we developed a way to do that with a voice. So you can say, Logatot, I just served all the kids lunch. And that lunch is already plugged in with all the ingredients that are there. So we make multitasking, actually realistic. Because I think that's the other thing about women, AI, tech, anything. There always seems to be an unrealistic expectation of what female professionals will get done. And
Yeah.
I haven't seen that same mark put on our male counterparts.
Very true.
So my hope for AI is that AI can help us, even with all its bias and complication, because it's made by humans, so it's not going to be perfect. But I hope that AI will be a great equalizer and help making the unrealistic expectations of female multitasking realistic.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things, we had a lot of Innovation Women members as speakers. And at one point, Felicia said, "Oh, I need an entrepreneur, somebody who has built their business using AI." And I'm like, "Oh, I got somebody," and I mean, that's the great thing about Innovation Women. It's, 3,000 speakers who are all better speakers than me, but it's also searchable by topic, by industry, by location, by where they went to school, by their titles. And that gives us the ability to just dive in and go, okay, I need a speaker who can do this particular thing. A few years ago, I had an event manager who was like, I'm not finding what I need. And I'm like, really? What do you need? I need a speaker who can talk about objection handling. I'm like, like in sales, you know, like got, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 of them.
I thought you
And
were going to say 300.
now maybe, yeah, this
Yeah.
was a few years back. And, they were just searching by like industry and stuff, but we can actually go in and search by topic. And when you search by topic, we have like 10,000 different topics, keywords, and keyword phrases. So it just makes it so much easier to find speakers that can speak to an exact thing at an event.
Which is the key to, again, as someone who's also run massive, huge events all over Boston, having the right speaker is essential
Mhm.
because you can have the right space, it can be set up, but ultimately what people are going to walk away with is remembering what people said, how they, how they felt. And so if you've got real clarity on what you want your audience to walk away with, being able to really drill in who can speak to this better than anyone, who is uniquely qualified. One, it's going to be a woman, and two, she's probably going to be on Innovation Women. So go there and find her.
We call that the one
Yes.
person that everybody immediately thinks of when it comes to a particular topic. That's what we all want to be for our areas.
Well, Bobbie, you are the one. I mean, when
Yes.
I think about who we want to invite on this show, you are the one. I hope you'll come back. I know we're short on time. Any last words? Anyone, because this is just a delightful conversation. And I really appreciate your friendship, your openness, and what you're doing. I really don't have any fear of the future. Where conversations like this thrive, I think it's sort of unstoppable. So, any final words, Bobbie or Amanda?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to urge everybody to think about getting themselves on stage and sharing their perspective. And AI and every other topic out there is looking for speakers who can help us decipher what is happening and put the technology conversation into everyday language. So, those are the things that I want to urge people who do have that knowledge to get yourself on stage. Take the opportunity, take the time to come up with a topic that is uniquely yours.
Yeah. Thanks again, Bobbie. I agree with Anna. I believe you are the one. Like I said, we met in June of 24 at that unconference, and ended up, I think, spending the whole day together because we kept picking the same the same sessions to go to. And I was in awe because I do think you are the one, at least here in Boston, that inspires so many women to use our voice and raise our hands and get in front of the audience, and know that it's okay to make a mistake and it's okay to be brilliant. And more often than not, you're going to be brilliant. So I think you're the one that brings out our brilliance. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of
Appreciate it.
course.
And we will drop links in the chat and the liner notes. But I want to tell the world I signed up to be an Innovation Women speaker, and I'm not even in Boston. So look out, please.
We have speakers all over the
There
world.
you go. Come on
Yes.
down. All right. Until next time, and please come back, Bobbie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Building AI Boston. Stay tuned for more enlightening episodes that put you at the forefront of the conversations shaping our future.